Breaking down Florida State football with Logan Robinson from Knoll Game Day here at MarkRogersTV, the voice of college football. If you enjoy the content, you know what to do. Smash that like button, subscribe, of course, hit that bell for the notifications. That way you know we're going live. And, of course, if you enjoy the content, share it out there on social media so other people will as well. All right, Logan, we're going to run down these tight ends. And Cam Mcdonald is the guy with 23 catches and 2 touchdowns that everybody's looking to have an even more of a breakout season here in 21.
Yeah, Cam Mcdonald is going to be most certainly the number one guy unless something crazy happens. But Cam Mcdonald is the veteran coming in. From what I've been seeing and hearing, this guy has been putting on some pounds too, looks good. And more importantly, he's become a big-time leader. This guy actually, I'm very proud of him because not only is he putting in work on the field, but he does a lot of stuff off the field that not a lot of people know. He's a guy that he has his own business for his own profit that he does for fundraising for homeless people. And it's a great thing that he's doing. So it's proud to be, you go to Florida State. I'm going to Florida State. I'm proud to see a guy out there doing extra. And he doesn't really talk too much about it, but just talking about him on the field and as a leader, it's going to be huge. Mike Norvell has been trying to change this culture inside this locker room since his arrival. And we've seen some few guys leave that might have not been so great in the locker room. This guy right here is going to be great. I'm sure he and Mackenzie Milton have been putting in a lot of work together. He's 6'4", 238, coming from California. He's your true veteran coming in. It'll be interesting how Florida State's going to utilize him once again. He made some great catches last year, but the thing with this, which we're going to start getting into, because I know we're going to talk some running back or wide receivers soon too, is the difference in how this offense is going to work. Because Florida State last year, there was not really a big passing attack. This was really based behind Jordan Travis. You're bringing in Mackenzie Milton, who is going to be throwing the ball a lot, and these tight ends are going to love it. So this is where Cam Mcdonald, I think you're going to see his name thrown around a lot more this upcoming season, and I'm here all for it. Great guy in the locker room. Been working on his body well this offseason so far, and I think is going to have a bright spring.
Jackson West is already on campus as a true freshman in that 21 class, 30th rated tight end out of Huntsville, Alabama, 3-star. But beyond the metrics, the stats, the ratings, the scouting reports coming out of high school, you really like what you're hearing about him.
Yep. Jackson West has been the number one guy from the texts I've received since the tour of duty. Everybody's excited to see him. The coaching staff, for some reason, is in love with him. I think he's put on, I believe Nate told me, like 25 pounds, 20 or more pounds, might be more, but 20 or more solid pounds on him since his arrival, I believe in January as an early enrollee. You got to watch out for him. He's the number one guy to keep an eye on coming into the spring across all position groups. So that's saying something from what I've been told. The staff really is excited to have him and see what he's got. Definitely once he puts on some pads too. But Jackson West is going to be interesting to watch because, like you said, 30th ranked. Is this a guy that out of nowhere surprises this whole team and Tallahassee and he shows out in this first year? We'll see. But Jackson West, a name to look out for heading into spring practice next week.
Logan, I think you told me that there's basically 6 tight ends in the mix on the roster. Obviously, there's going to be 2 or 3 that really get playing time. So how do you think the rest of them size up?
There's a lot of names in here. There's a lot. And it's going to be interesting who goes where, who's going to be blocking, who's going to be catching. And who are the question marks? Just going into maybe this last offseason, a bell cow for the incoming class. Kobe Gross, a big boy. He was rated number 2 JUCO in the country. He's coming in. Doesn't have a lot of film on him. Not a lot of PT. I remember interviewing him on our podcast and, saying, he had to go the JUCO route because he just really wasn't with it mentally. He had to work on himself. He had to focus on school, and he's hit a whole 180 in his stride there. That's someone that I'm looking forward to watching once after spring is. I believe he's going to be coming in the fall. He's a guy where this room is going to want to have, because he's been working out a lot with guys this off season. And taking care of his body. So Kobe Gross is kind of a question mark for me, along with Carter Boatwright. I'm interested to see where his playing time comes this upcoming season. For right now, blocking and catching, I'd put probably Preston Daniel, walk on. A lot of people around the program are expecting him to get a scholarship. He played a good amount of games last year, primarily in blocking schemes. But we do remember the play against Duke, where Florida State and Mike Norvell were budged in almost in their own red zone, blocked up there, and Preston Daniel came through, and they played a little trickery play and caught, I think, took it for about 30, 35 yards. So Preston Daniel, I still think, is going to be primarily used as a blocker. Jordan Wilson, I think, is a 50-50 guy on blocking and catching here. Jordan Wilson transferred from UCLA. Achilles injury, I think around this time, it was around spring camp or whenever they were trying to have spring going on. Jordan Wilson suffered an injury, so we didn't get to see him last year. But this is a gigantic dude, big boy. That's why I'm putting him more, probably 70% blocking, but we got to see where Thomason and Mike Norvell use him. And then going to catching, it's definitely going to be McDonald, and I think Wyatt Rector here. Wyatt Rector, I think, has some of the best hands on the team, and I think he's going to be right behind McDonald if we're looking at passing schemes for some of these tight ends. So I think there's a good amount of question marks for guys behind your two leaders between McDonald and Preston Daniel, because we still got to see what Jordan Wilson, what they work with him, and where they put him. But I think you're solidified with McDonald as your number one catching guy, and then Preston Daniel as a blocking guy. And Preston Daniel is a walk on. So I wouldn't be shocked after spring if he stays steady and we see some growing there for him too, if he doesn't receive a scholarship.
And with Jordan Wilson, he's a guy that's already shown that he can produce at the Power 5 level at UCLA. Like you mentioned, even going back to his freshman season in 2017, he caught 16 passes that year and a couple touchdowns, and he's got 25 catches in his career, 244 yards. So some experience, and a guy that, once he hits the practice field, obviously Mike Norvell and his staff's going to do their own evaluation, but they know, hey, this guy played at UCLA and he produced a little bit, so he can play.
Yeah, no, he's going to be getting a good amount. He's going to get some chances to get some playing time, I think, because going through an injury like that last year, this is where the spring's going to be huge for him. He's got to figure out if he's fully ready to go. But we've seen videos of him working out. Coach Storm's uploaded a few videos. He's over there squatting. That's a good sign after an Achilles injury. You're squatting and put on some weight at the bottom, because his top half is extremely big. I mean, he's got the NFL type build on him up above. If we can build some legs on him, that's why I'm thinking he still could be. He could have a chance for being a primary catching guy, but we'll see. I think overall your most versatile guy is going to be Cameron McDonald heading into the spring, most certainly. And like I said, Mackenzie Milton, this offense is going to be a little bit different. I think FSU fans are like, well, all right, the tight end, blah, let's just don't talk about it. A lot of things are going to change between this wide receiver and tight end unit, even the running backs, with a quarterback right here that Florida State hasn't had throwing wise since maybe Francois, but I mean, going back more to Jameis Winston, the ball is going to be flying all over the place.
Check out Logan's work at NoleGameDay.com. The rest of the staff there covering Florida State constantly, like on it every day. And if you just want to track Logan on Twitter, and then you can follow him wherever he goes, it's Logan's Twitty. You see it right there on the banner. Logan, I love the personnel breakdowns, trying to get updated on what's going on with Florida State football, and can't wait to see him on the practice field and hear some more reports coming out of there. But we're going to have Logan back on for some more personnel breakdowns as we go through all the positions, offense and defense. Appreciate it, Logan.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Mark.